I'm going to turn my attention today back to the fuel gauge and the shore power. Because I got to rethink my schematic for everything inside the locker. I may have to get some more parts, but I'm only going to stay here one more day. I might leave tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, or I might leave tonight. I don't know. We'll see how much I get done and how tired I am. But yeah, I may as well double back, finish everything up on the outside, get at least the home runs for the gauge wires into the cabinet, and then build the shore power, which should be a little more straightforward. So what I gotta do for the gauge is I gotta mount this and this on this. And then I gotta make a cutout in the cockpit tub that will accommodate this roughly. If all goes well with the cuts, the circle and the rectangle, I have to then, because of the maximum thickness of the around the hole can only be about 3/8. I have about a little over, well, I've got 1/2 inch here. That's right. So I'm gonna have to route this out just a little bit somehow, or right here where the tabs are, where these two clamping tabs are. Just gonna have to take it down to 3/8. Even more tricky is the fact that this thing is designed to go into like sheet metal. The thickness is, it's a nominal like 0 thickness. So what I'm going to have to do is on the two sides, I'm going to have to put a bevel on that. I may have to finagle it with a file. I may have to trim these flexible clamping tabs back a little bit so it will snap in there and stay put. Otherwise, I don't want to glue it in place. Well, I can't glue anything to this anyway, can I? I don't have any sheet metal handy. I may have to back it with a piece of sheet metal or something like that. I don't know. Do I have sheet metal? I don't know. I have some at home. First, we'll mark the center of this hole. And then the corners of this. I'm gonna have to be really careful cutting this tiny rectangle because there's not a lot of leeway. As luck would have it, I have a 2-inch Forstner bit, which is the perfect tool for this job. Yeah, without this clamp down in a drill press, getting near the end it just gets too wild. I had the drill on the lowest possible torque setting, but it was still, every time it snagged, I was at risk of ruining this. A hole saw next time. I was going to switch to a hole saw once I had a nice clean cut. Well, this is the back side, but I can't find the shank for my hole saw set. So the arbor with the pilot bit in it. There we go. I'll just file that down a little bit and it should be good to go. But first, before I make it any smaller, I'm going to check the fit. Take this off. And I think before I route around it to thickness, I'm going to have a go at this hole. I may, if this gets messed up, it'll all be a waste of time. In fact, this would be a waste of time. But I wanted to start with that. Oh my, that's a little bit undersized. Time for the sanding drum, methinks. Yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna leave it be and cut this hole. Yep. Yeah, I gotta take a little more off here. These two sides, because that clip needs room. I should have taken a measurement from the very bottom of these tabs. Let's see. Not really. Well, we're making some progress, but it's got me thinking. I'll probably still have to counterbore on the two sides so that these clips will go in. But I'm thinking now, these are set up this way to go to sheet metal. If I were to cut these, say, right where it bends, this would pop right in that hole at this point. But, I guess it wouldn't really be secure. It'd be just as likely to pop out. It's too bad. If this material were thinner, I can't go that far. That's pushing a little bit because it has no more flex at that point. I still have to counterbore, but I think what I'm going to do is, if I cut to there and then counterbore from the back all the way to about there, it might click in easier. The problem I'm having is I have to keep making the hole wider so that these can compress enough. And it's not meant to go in the material this thick. So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna take a chance. This was cheap. I can always get another one or figure out some way to. I'm already thinking of a way that I could put something on the back to trap it in there. Try the old X-Acto razor saw. Done. Well, one side anyway. Yeah, see now it's much easier to get it to lay flat. Right. I still need to ease the holes a little more. I got to square them up. That's part of the problem. Well, I managed to get it in there, and it's a pretty snug fit even without the counterbore. It's also a tiny, tiny bit crooked. Hard to tell till I take the plastic off, but I'm tempted to leave it like this. It can come out though. The counterboring is going to be risky. And I forgot I can use a pencil on this stuff. Good to know. Yeah, I was surprised to see that a pencil would actually leave a mark on this thing. Wow, down to an 1/8 of an inch proud. This foam is handy for cutting on, but makes a lousy workbench. 1/8 of an inch proud. Next, make a little mark. Right, I'm going from the back. Make a little mark here so I know how far. Well, basically, I just want to lick it, really. I'm just going to make a mark so I can better tell where I'm at. And width-wise, something like that. depth. Oh, there it is. Seems like a lot. Well, that's right. I'm going from behind. I keep forgetting. We'll start there. Locked. All right. Turn the speed way down. Make sure I can see what I'm doing. No, you cannot. Yeah, I should just leave the camera under there. So I'm gonna go bzz, bzz. Check the mark. Looks pretty good. I took the mark off, so yeah, that should be right. Well, looks pretty good. I don't think I went quite deep enough, but that's fine. Better to do this progressively. Wait a minute. Why does that look? Oh, I did it from the wrong side. No, I didn't. I didn't go deep enough, though, I can tell. What's the matter with you? Oh, did it melt a little bit? Yeah, we got some flash in there. Not quite. We gotta go a little deeper. We gotta go deeper. Maybe there. This rubber gasket. Yeah, baby. Still not. I can even see in there the ends of this these tabs a little more. I can go do it that way, but I can't do it this way. There we go. Trying to just flex it. What is the problem, and what would the answer be? It's just not opening up enough. I think, yeah, I mean, it's meant to work with that other part of it, providing some spring tension. I see part of the problem. I mean, I have made this weaker, as I just pointed out. I've got to get rid of that as well, because it's these corners are hitting. Damn, so freaking close. Yeah, just having the wire, I should have thought of that from the get-go. Let me tell you. Nice, the gasket is fairly tight. Snips, snips, snips. Oh, oh no. Pull it a little tighter. On any ends that might potentially make contact with the contacts. Right, so we still have to, still got to make this hole wider. Success. Yeah, I don't want to go crazy. Gotta make. Happily, this isn't going to be a dead fit kind of thing. I can adjust it with the nut. How deep do I have to go again? Well, I can't really get the router in there after all. I don't want to take this switch out, so I'm going to do something a little silly here. That face really got marred. I think I cut this piece a long time ago and it's been kicking around a bit. So the protective film didn't protect it very well. It's all right. It's going to get even more beat up before long. There we go. I think we got something to write home about now. Yep. Yes, sir. I could use a wrench on that. Get some Loctite on it. Too much. I don't ever want to have to get at this to fix it. This can be somebody else's problem in 15 years or so. Oh yeah, that's a good positive lock. Nice. Fuel selector panel. I've already sanded the corners a little bit. Probably, actually, doesn't really need it anymore. Next thing I got to do is make some holes for the screws to mount it. It would have been a lot easier to do that when the thing is laying flat with nothing in it, but I didn't want to go through all that trouble and then ruin the piece trying to create these openings. Well, that's pretty good. Sort of did a quick dry fit. Really don't want to get into wiring all that today. I don't want to go inside there. So I'm going to shift my attention to mounting and wiring the shore power and the AC panel. All right, first we have to pilot from inside. Time to put another hole in the boat. Yay! I see daylight. And it'll be closed up. Well, not if there's something plugged into it. Geez, did I just make a hole I'm going to have to fill? I can't go much higher because there's structure. I don't want to put it in the cabin top because then I'll have all the wires sticking out into the saloon. I think the plan will be in winter, if I leave the boat plugged in when I'm not on the boat, I'll cover this with something. Yeah. Even though technically the shore power cord should make a fairly watertight seal. I'm worried about there being this much snow in here at some point. We have a blizzard. As far as water, that much water getting up here seems rather unlikely. I think I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to come up just a little bit more, like an inch and a half, so that this hole will be covered. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm going to try to be more careful. Oh, I smell epoxy. There's a lot of epoxy. God damn it. More. Oh, go through. I'll be damned. I blew up that old plywood a little bit. Oh well. Really should do something with the inside of this hole, eh? I think I'm just going to smear some Flex in, especially around the back part, just in case this gasket, the rubber gasket, dries out enough that water can sort of sneak in there. But this plywood is completely saturated. And it was good marine ply to begin with. By the time I'm ready to run wires, this should be. Do I want to wire this outside? Yeah, I kind of have to. So I'm going to have to do this and then. Hold on. Wrong. Got to dry fit it first. Make my screw holes and such. Something like that. Kind of. Okay. Tell you what, got one screw in. Here. Now I got this second hand. Got it with the AC panel and some cable for $100. These are not the ones that it would have come with. I didn't get them. Oval heads would be better, but I have these four. These are for something I'm not going to use. I can swap them out at some point. They are stainless. They should be okay. Maybe they're not stainless. It won't swing that way. Doesn't really need to, though. Got this bad boy. We'll get the hubble all wired up. Double checked it for shorts and opens. Go that way. If that touches the battery, that'll be all right. The ends are cut short. Cut flush, rather. Cool. Screws. I set it up so these are kind of neat. They're adjustable, so you can set it so the cable exits at any angle. I want it to go up and over, so it's not going across that shelf. This forward here. Are you gonna clear with the? Oh no, it's the same thickness all around. Shouldn't matter. Damn it. Getting sick of Flex everywhere. More than usual. Yeah, I gotta get that tape off there. I don't know how I would counterbore. There's no room to work in there. Alright. Yeah, I looked in there. I was thinking I might be able to chisel some of it away. I couldn't even swing the hammer. There's nowhere to swing a hammer. This is gonna have to be cleaned up later. Should be a hole there. Okay. The rubber's like, no thank you, I reject your screw. It's almost impossible to get it right through the pre-made hole in the rubber. I probably could have, I know what I should have done. I should have, while it was out, had the screws pre-threaded through there, through the rubber, but with the amount of wrestling I just had to do, it probably would have all fallen off anyway. What I'm going to do tonight is take my extension cord that goes to the post over there and just use this adapter temporarily, which would be lousy if the boat were in the water. This is not there's no way to lock it. But for sitting here, just instead of having the extension cord running into the boat, I also have to wire up an outlet. All right, it's already Sunday. It's almost 1:30. I'm going handheld here. I'm done. I'm done for the week. I've been here a straight week. I want to go home and rest. I was going to clean up all of this. I did organize this area a little better this morning, but I'm not going to bother because there's going to be more cuttings and stuff. The bilge will have to be cleaned again. And well, let's just take a quick look at where we're at. Yeah, I'm not going to put any of this away. I'm going to need all this when I come back. I did do a little work this morning. I showed you, we already saw all the business mounting these. They're good to go. They work. I did discover, though, that my port, the old bilge pump, even though it used to work, it no longer works. That's probably for the best. It was old. I couldn't even see the model number anymore. Didn't know exactly what size fuse it needed or how many gallons per minute it would push. So I'm gonna just get another one, and I gotta order a bunch of new electrical parts. This is all still very, very messy. Now let me turn on my utility light. I've got a light in here. I've got a light in here now that's on the same circuit as the engine room lights. This is all very rough, very rough. It's gonna be prettier. What did I do? I added a galvanic isolator from the ground for the shore power. I already had it. I wired that to the panel and totally forgot that I had that, so I cut that back and put that in this morning. I recently added a battery fuse that will protect everything from massive loads, any kind of weird, like a dead short near the battery, which is unlikely in the system, but could happen. Not terribly expensive at all. You can spend a lot of money on those. I think that one was like $40. Maybe it's a piece of crap. See this tape here? I cut this primary cable back, the one that goes from the battery to the battery switch. I cut it back this morning because it was a little too long, and I didn't have the right size shrink tube, but that is heavy duty rubber splicing tape. It's probably better in the long run than shrink wrap. What else do I have to do aside from dressing all this? And I got to finish all my runs to the DC panel for everything. Nav lights, future interior lights. I have to interrupt this leg with something. I have another battery switch, this guest unit, which is cool, but it's way too big. But I need something. I basically need a battery selector switch for two reasons. One being that the backlighting on this AC panel is always hot, even if shore power is disconnected, and apparently that's the way it's supposed to work. I don't really like that. If I have to leave the boat offshore power for a while and I'm not here, it doesn't draw much at all, but I don't like it. I want to be able to turn it off, and I could mount a switch here, or if I use a selector switch, I can isolate the entire DC bus from the battery. And also, if I have a selector, when I expand my battery bank and have another unit, I can switch between the two. I could if I need to, use the starting battery, to energize the DC bus, the house bus, if you will. But that of course meant I had to take the bilge pump circuit from the switches, the feed to the switches off of here, because I definitely want those available all the time. Even if they're going to beat up the battery, if the boat springs a leak when I'm not around, whatever. So I move them to the battery, directly to the battery. And I actually did a lot this morning, now that I think about it. Didn't really want to. I'm pretty burnt out. I'm really burnt out. I need to do laundry and all the other stuff at home. Yeah, I'm out of clean everything. Except this t-shirt. I found this t-shirt. It happened to not be worn twice already. We're full of sweat. I gotta take out the trash. I think I gotta button up the boat. I haven't checked the weather, but I have to assume. I don't know exactly when I'm coming back. I'm not gonna stay at home too long because the clock is ticking. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I have a tentative date for launch, which would be October 3rd. I've scheduled a date. Come on. I scheduled a date with the surveyor for the 1st, which is a Wednesday, and I talked to Bill about putting the boat in the water the following Friday. So the clock is ticking. One of the things, after I get a good night's sleep in my own bed and a nice cup of coffee at home, is sit down and revise my punch list and prioritize everything. But we're looking really, really good. I had no problems with the engine or the new fuel system so far, knock wood. Everything after this line is pretty much put together and ready to go, except for I got to wire up the fuel gauge senders, but I don't need those for launch. What else? It's going to be fun editing this shot. What else? That's it. That's all I got to say for now. I don't know if this is going to be the end of an episode, but if it is, thanks for tagging along and putting up with my foolishness. I hope you're all going to be around when we launch. Look at this mess. The plan for now, for launch day, I just contacted my friend James yesterday, who you met in a previous episode. He was the young guy that was handling the camera when I was doing stuff on the deck, on the new deck. He has a drone, apparently, that he designed and built himself. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what kind of camera it has, but I don't care. And he's pretty excited to be here all day Friday and just try to get some decent aerial footage of the boat going into the water and all that stuff. I may mount the GoPro somewhere on the outside of the boat and just let it rip with a decent battery, or maybe in time-lapse mode, because I don't know how much time I'm going to have. So I'll have that, but I am not going to be walking around with a camera. I'm not going to be climbing in and out of the boat and looking around. If the boat is safely taking up by the end of the weekend, and it's time we do-si-do her a couple of spaces over into the slip where I'm going to keep her for the near future. If she's stable, I'll definitely do a walkthrough with the camera, and if there will be worry spots. There will be places. There'll be old and new seams that are letting in a little more water than I like. And, I'll update you on the progress of the take up and all that jazz. And then after that, the channel is gonna be pretty much the same old crap put in the water. Except there could possibly be some sailing, or at least motoring. I'm probably gonna try to sail the rig more or less as it is before I do the right thing and pull the mast, which I may or may not do this year. I don't know. That's thinking too far ahead. But anyway, this thing is going to get wet soon, and let's hope it doesn't get too wet. Oh, there's also going to be, I don't have a date yet. I haven't figured out who I'm going to invite, but once I'm happy that the boat is stable in the slip, I'm going to organize a renaming party. And definitely want to get a drone going for that. I guess I'll have to do it on a Friday. I think that's the only day he's available. I know somebody else with a drone. Well, anyway, I don't know who I'm going to invite. There could be some interesting people there. There could be people who don't want to be recorded. Some of them are wanted by Interpol. I'm not just kidding. Well, maybe some of them are. I don't know. But I'm pretty psyched. Although that's going to be yet another project putting that together. I'd love to put out an invite to the world, to all of you, but there's limited space, limited parking here. If you are interested, drop me a line in the comments. And if you're nearby, again, if you are interested, it'd be cool to meet some of you who've been following the channel. And it should be a pretty good party. Not too crazy, but anyway, I'll see you all later.